You guys are clashing with King's Empire. We're going to get into a full clan capital raid weekend recap. So, to start with, when it comes to our matchmaking, we only have 1,137 capital upgrades. And so what does that mean? So we are a level 8 capital hall, and we are still going to be matched up against lower competition, which is going to help us when it comes to earning raid medals from defenses and our attacks during the weekend. We're going to get more medals due to being matched up against lower competition. So once we get into it, you'll obviously see. But Cody and I's original plan for this weekend was to do a full overview like we did last week about trying to complete an entire clan capital raid. What happened was Walker came in Thursday night after the weekend started, and he blasted a 28,000 gold weekend right off the bat. So that completely changed Cody and I's plan because, we took that personally. We wanted to be at the very top when it comes to earning the most gold. And, at a Town Hall 12 on my main account, I'm not the greatest attacker when it comes to war and Clan War League. And also, my builder base isn't maxed. It's pretty rushed. So this is the one thing in Clash of Clans that I'm trying to consistently improve upon and stay the best at. So we're going to get into attacks on several districts. So my main plan was to try and one-shot the default Golem Quarry as many times as I could to try and earn as much gold. And then we're going to end up getting into a Balloon Lagoon attack and then overview of trying to 2-attack Dragon Cliffs along with 2-shotting Barbarian Camp. And then we'll have some Capital Peak gameplay as well. But we're going to get into it right away, starting with we didn't start attacking until the 4th raid. We're going to get into Golem Quarry. So before I start, credit is due to Sam Games and Slow-Mo. So before I get started, credit is due to Sam Games and Slow-Mo. I believe Slow-Mo is a part of Sam Games' clan, but he originally dropped, I think, like the one-shot Golem Quarry on YouTube. This is what my attacks are based off of. And then along with shouting out Sen FGR, I believe that's how that's supposed to be said. But he has, he probably has like the best clan capital content on YouTube. And that's what I've been studying a lot lately. I know we're at a much lower level compared to him. I think they're like close to top of level 10. I don't know if they're like a maxed clan capital 10, but he has awesome content that I think everyone should be checking out when it comes to clan capital raids or just content that you want to share with your clan. So we'll get into the attack. I'm trying to one-shot Golem Quarry. To start with, I'm going to zap the 2 air defenses on the left, and then we're going to tank that blast bow with a giant, and then we'll start bringing in our barbs to clear up these buildings. And then we're going to bring in some wall breakers afterwards. There's the default zap that's sitting next to the mortar. We're going to take care of that. Then we're going to set another wall breaker to make sure that we're funneling our barb, our giant. Then we got to make sure we take out all these huts on the right side. We got to break open that compartment, take care of that Tesla with a tanking barb so damage isn't dealt to the P.E.K.K.A. And then I don't know if I tank well for my skeletons with the wall breaker over here. It looks like it's okay. We're going to tank for that rocket artillery. P.E.K.K.A.'s going to take that out before I can get a shot off. Great. And then this is usually where my attacks go awry, is that I don't have enough backing up my P.E.K.K.A. as it's making its way through the middle. So it's going to take too much damage before it can get over to the right side. And this is usually what brings my attacks down. So we open up that compartment in the middle. We're going to take out that rocket artillery. They're going to be able to take out all those defenses. And as you saw, I did not have enough troops to make it through on this right side, which is unfortunate. See here, as minions and the rocket get closer, they're not gonna have enough health to finish off. And I've been trying to one-shot Golem Quarry for like a month now, and I think I just need, it's protecting the P.E.K.K.A. a little better, or maybe, throwing in more barbarians in the back, or maybe using the Larry barrel differently to tank for the P.E.K.K.A. so it doesn't take so much damage as it's trying to make its way to the right. But that was the first attack of the weekend. We're going to stick with Golem Quarry as we'll get into number 5. We'll go to the 5th raid. We're going to go into Golem Quarry again. I got a little farther this time. We don't need to watch it. So I'm just going to speed up and go through this base as we've already seen it before. Same thing. Giant to tank. Trying to push up the left side. Going to tank for that blast bow. Once the P.E.K.K.A. gets inside and destroys the blast bow, we have to tank for that rocket artillery. And then the main thing is that we destroy all these buildings in the middle to open up the compartment that's going to go around the rocket artillery. I'm going to try my best to take care of the P.E.K.K.A. as this was my best attack so far. But credit is due, and that comes from Sam Games and Slow-Mo. Yeah, that put me at about 12,000, I think, which is setting me on a perfect pace to try and beat Walker. But the next Golem Quarry video I'm going to show you is Cody and I's plan was to both beat Walker, so we're going to start splitting up the Golem Quarries. And this is Cody's very first time on attempting the one-shot Golem Quarry strategy. So getting into the 6th one here, you'll see he manages a 50%. Which is great for starting off, especially since this was his first time. And with this large of a troop compilation, it's hard to, make sure that everything goes where it needs to go after you start putting things down, and then the blast bow's going off, the rocket artillery's going off, and then, one little mishap, and then it changes the whole trajectory of your attack. So the main thing here is that he missed breaking open that wall in the middle there, sending the P.E.K.K.A. over to the right. And he does a great job of trying to finish off the attack, even though it's not the outcome that he wanted. But he'll get redemption later. Once your attack goes awry, some people just kind of panic. And Cody did a nice job of finishing the attack. And that brings us into number 7, which is going to be Cody's redemption at Golem Quarry. So he used up all his attacks, so I let him use my final attack. And he's going to get a little redemption on the Golem Quarry. So it got the best of him the first time, but it's great that he can revisit the default Golem Quarry before the weekend is over, so that, the muscle memory and your strategy is developing a little better now that he has a second chance at it. So he doesn't tank for his skeletons after they drop, which is unfortunate, but he's still going to get plenty of distance through the base. His P.E.K.K.A. is going to take out these buildings. The only thing is he doesn't wait for the zone to open to drop his rocket balloon. He just goes for it, but he's still gonna be able to get all the way over to the right side, and there's just gonna be a couple buildings left. That is it from our Golem Quarry attacks. Like I said, that comes from Slow-Mo, and I think Sam Games posted that on YouTube. Next, we're going to go back to my second attack on Balloon Lagoon. It was back in the 4th raid. So, Smiley here, this was his 6th attack, so I didn't wait for anybody else to, but it's just one of those things where, maybe someone's attack didn't go as well as they wanted it to. And then I jumped on the opportunity to capitalize on the gold that was left, because it was like, it was almost 6,000 gold. And so skeleton curses were in pretty good spots. And we'll see here that the skeletons end up taking out the rocket artillery. But I thought my zaps were going to be enough to take it out, so I must have miscalculated the amount of damage that was going to be done. So I take a pause here because I'm kind of thinking, all right, is this attack still going to work? And then I'm going to send in some archers right after to take out the rocket balloon hut. And then what I didn't think about is how the skeletons spawning would be able to take out that rocket artillery. So maybe I didn't need to use a pack of archers, but they're still going to be alive and they're going to tank, or they're going to help take out that spear thrower. But the big mistake I made here is I dropped my Larry barrels after my hogs. And so that just shows you how powerful the skeletons and the hogs are. Is you can mess up your attack and you'll still be just fine getting through it. But if I would have been able to tank with my Larry barrels, I would have protected my hogs much better, since there isn't any splash on that side of the base. So I lucked out a little bit here, but as we'll see, my main focus is just to protect the hogs from that crusher and the bomb tower in the middle section here. As long as I can get through there, it's going to be smooth sailing up to the top left, as you know, that's where the Inferno towers are default placed. But since they moved them into the base, my only worry is just taking out this bomb tower here, which I should be just fine. You know, like just perfect circumstances to finish off Balloon Lagoon here. And then next we're going to go to raid number 6, and we're going to get into some Dragon Cliff attacks. So like I said earlier, I've been, watching a lot of Sen FGR content, and he's been using the Inferno Drag Zap strategy on Dragon Cliffs here. So I was able to go for 2 attacks with TB money. And the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to destroy the hut so that I can drag the dragon down to the bottom. I'm also going to take care of this right hut for the dragon, which I didn't necessarily need to do, but I figured that I might as well get some practice in using the zaps and trying to take out multiple dragons at once. So I'm just going to try and bring them over to the left side here, and then I'm just going to try and get as much value out of my Inferno dragons as possible. So I'm going to continue to tank, and then I'm going to bring in my Inferno dragons. They are level 2, I believe, and they're only going against level 1 super dragons. I didn't tank very well just because I didn't know where that wall breaker was going to go, but that dragon's still going to keep moving. And then I'm going to work on the right side over here. I'm going to trigger those traps, going to bring in some Larry barrels so that they can take out all those single point defenses. And then I try to open up that compartment by the blast bow, and then I don't have a great strategy here trying to take out the Inferno tower, and I waste a lot of my troop value just throwing them at the Inferno tower and the Wizard tower. And that's going to be it for this attack here. The troops are going to break open the wall on the left side over there to open up the deployment zone, and that's going to be it for us over here. And then we'll probably get right into the second attack. And now that the dragons are gone from the map, I can use the hogs now that I don't have to worry about the splash damage that the super dragons cause. So I'm just going to tank with the blast bow, open up the compartments. Then I'm going to bring my hogs in afterwards, hopefully stun that blast bow. I'm going to drop the heal in a central location between the bomb tower, the Inferno tower, and the blast bow. So they're going to make quick work of all these defenses. Since the deployment zone is opened in the back, I'm able to bring the hogs in to kind of surround the defenses so that they don't have a chance. So then coming at you for Barb camp, I used Blueberry and TB money again. So with this attack strategy, I just wanted to drop my skeletons in a good location to where they were going to really distract everything that's kind of in the inside here around the district hall. And then they're going to be in a good spot for the second attack as well. So as you'll see here, I'm going to take out the defenses down here next to the deployment zone, open up. And then I'm going to be able to use the skeleton spells to tank for my hogs, as I'm going to try and get closer to the base, but they're going to be so distracted in the middle here that they're not going to be able to do a high enough splash damage on all the hogs that are coming in. So as we'll see here, this is going to set me up really nicely for the second attack. I'm going to try and clean up as many of these buildings out here as I can. But as we see here, skeletons are hopefully going to take down that mortar with the hogs. And then if they can take out these bomb towers without being taken out by the mortar and the giants, they're going to do a really nice job of cleaning up this middle. And then it just sets up a nice linear path for the hogs to work their way across the top. So there's still plenty of giants left, which is always going to cause a problem for hogs and the skeletons, as they can't deal enough damage. So I'm going to bring some minions in for the next attack, which will do a great job of taking out those pesky giants. So just going to send in spam of wall breakers, send in a couple hogs. I'm going to use my one heal here as the rocket artillery, the giants, the Teslas, the giant cannon. They're all focused on my hogs coming across the top. And then we're going to get a really nice swarm of skeleton spawns. They're going to take out those buildings. They're going to distract the giants as I'm trying to surround all of these defense up here with barbs, wall breakers, hogs. Going to use my second heal spell. And that's going to do it for us. Nice clean hog attack. The minions are a great way to close out Barb Camp, as you have so many giants. And if you're bringing all these ground troops, they're not going to be able to compete with the giants. So it's great to take them out using the minions. And then lastly, we'll be getting into an attack from my fourth account, Frederick, who's going to go in on the drag cliffs in number 8. Yep, so it shouldn't take 4 attacks to close out Dragon Cliffs, but like I said earlier, I had some issues with taking out this Inferno Tower and the Wizard Tower, and I just didn't learn my lesson. And so I'm going to come in here with the same strategy. I'm going to get some great practice over this weekend using the zaps. As long as they're low-level huts, I'm going to try and take out this super dragon first. It's going to lock on to my Inferno Dragon. It's going to just barely take it out, which is great. Then it's going to move to the right, take out these, kind of these annoying huts. And then I'm going to try and focus on the other dragons as I'll destroy the other huts. And then I'm going to drag them down to the bottom. So it's pretty time consuming, which is also going to be a big issue using this strategy. But I just want to bring them down to my rage to make quicker work of them. And then as we'll see here, they're going to get distracted. My wall breakers are going farther than I wanted them to. And then it's going to take it out of the range actually. So I maybe should have dropped it further back behind the rage, which would have allowed for the Inferno Dragon to take it out. And then I'm not going to have the troop comp to take out the Inferno Tower and the Wizard Tower, but I'm going to take care of everything over here, as the only air defense is going to be that spear thrower. And then the Inferno Dragon's just going to make quick work of these buildings until it gets taken out. So next we're going to have to come in with the second attack, which is going to be a little overkill, as what was left of the base, was too much for one attack, and it's just not going to be a lot of gold for 2 attacks. So it's just going to be an overkill swarm of the hogs, and that's going to close it out for here. And we're going to go to the clan capital peak attacks. So I used 2 attacks on the clan capital. And as we get into this base, even though it's, at a lower level, it might be a little overwhelming. But as you see here, the defenses in the second compartment, the second row of second compartment row, they don't cover the first row very well, and it leads these defenses a little vulnerable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use kind of like a specific troop comp to take out each individual block. So I'm going to use the Larry barrels on the right side with all those single point defenses. I'm going to use the hog in the middle to take care of that spear thrower so I can open up the spawn area. And then I'm going to take care of these buildings, use some wall breakers since I got my skeleton spells down, and then I'm going to work to the left to take out the rocket artillery and the giants. So it's pretty smart, you use 2 air defenses on the left to kind of protect that rocket artillery so that it can cause havoc on whatever you want to drop in the inside. But we're going to go heavy against it with some P.E.K.K.A.s. The P.E.K.K.A.s are going to split up really nicely. One's going to tank the rocket artillery. We're going to take out the spear thrower with the hogs. And then we're going to try and bring in a rocket balloon after the spawn, or the spawn area has opened up a little bit. And then the giants here aren't going to do too much damage on the P.E.K.K.A., but we're going to bring in those rockets, take it out. We're going to clear this bottom section as the other 2 sections have been cleared out. And then the only mistake that I wish I could have taken back is I didn't bring anything to help funnel my P.E.K.K.A.s towards the rocket artillery. I think if I would have dropped a Barb on the left here to take out these 2 huts, I would have been in a much better spot going forwards. And as we'll see here, the one thing I didn't want is for the P.E.K.K.A.s to get into the range of the Inferno Tower, as only half of it covers the rocket artillery, but I just don't funnel enough well here. And as we'll see, that'll lead to our second attack. So we're going to open up plenty of compartments, which is going to allow for our hogs to come in after I drop my spells. I'm going to put one on the blast bow, the giant cannon in the back, and then the capital peak itself. So I just have a little health left on that rocket artillery. You're going to notice here that I make a big mistake as I just start spamming my hogs. And the skeletons are going to help a little bit tank for them, but I don't drop my wall breakers, and I think I could have done obviously much better if I had more skeletons drop in and I had a little more tanking going for my hogs. As you'll see here, I panic and spam them all in the middle, but we're gonna do a nice job of taking those defenses in the middle, and it's gonna set Andrew up for a nice cleanup for a third attack. And I wish I would have gotten a little more loot during this attack, but we'll take it. And we ended up coming away beating Walker using that one-shot golem quarry technique to try and come away with it. And we should hopefully get some great value for war medals this weekend. And we saw that last weekend, our defensive value for clan war medals was like 230. And so far we've had great defenses against lower rated clans. So hopefully that means we'll get a little boost in our medals. And that's it. So that's a great way to cap off our weekend from Clan War League. We just got into Clan War, and then Raid Weekend is coming to an end. You've been clashing with Trent. You've been clashing with King's Empire. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.